In this tutorial, I want to talk about CSS classes. Classes are a way to give names to specific elements of our page, and we can apply CSS styling to anything that has those names or those classes. So for this tutorial, I'm going to mess around with the H2 headings here, and the first thing I want to do is duplicate that heading so that I can see two instances of our H2 headings on the page. So I'm heading over to our default.html file. Here's our H2 headings here. I'm just going to copy that and paste that onto a new line and just get my indentations consistent. So we've got two H2 headings there. And let's just take a look at the website, make sure that's the case. Yeah, we have two H2s there. Now we already know that if we create a style for H2, such as this, and give it a color, well, that's going to affect both H2 headings on our page. Yes, it's turned them both red. But what happens if we only want to change the styling for one of those H2s? Well, we give it a class. So let's head back to the HTML file, and I'll apply a class to our first instance of the H2 and not our second one. So only the H2 with our class will use the stylings that we apply to that class. Now inside our first opening bracket here, just before this bracket closes, let's put a space, class equals, and open some quotes and close some quotes. And inside those quotation marks, this is where we type the name of the class. And the name can actually be anything. So I'm just going to call this colored text. I want to copy that name, and I might just copy and paste it so I make sure I don't make any mistakes when I type it. And I'm going to head over to our CSS style sheet, and I'm going to write H2, put a full stop, and the full stop indicates that it's a class, and then we put the class name. And then we put our usual curly brackets, opening and closing. So let's put a color in there, and we'll make them anything with this class will appear in white. So we have a selector, H2. So basically this is saying any H2 with the class colored text should appear white. So let's take a look at our website, see what happens. Sure enough, there it is. We can also apply that class to anything else on the page. Maybe we want to apply that same class to our H3 heading. So let's take a look at our style sheet, and I'm going to remove that H2 so that this line now starts with the full stop and the class name, and that means anything, not just the H2, but anything that has that class name will now invoke these styles here. And I'll save that. And of course, we now also have to change our HTML document and make sure our H3 has this class here. So I'm just actually going to copy what I've written up there and just paste it there. So our H3 now has that class. So let's save that and take a look at our website. Great, so our H2 here has that class and our H3 has that class. So as you can see, we can apply classes to any of these page elements and write something specifically for that class. Let's try something again. Maybe our paragraph here, let's duplicate that paragraph. So in our HTML, I'm just going to copy that and paste a second paragraph. And I might just change the text here. But it's still wrapped in these same paragraph tags. Just make sure that's working on our website. Yep, there it is. And we already have applied some styles to the paragraph tags, such as border, margin, and padding. And that's fine. But I think for this second paragraph, I want to make that have the same colored text as, well, actually, no, I'll give it a different color. We'll make this another color. So let's jump over to our HTML. We'll type in class, and I'm just going to call this another style. Once again, it really doesn't matter what you type in here, as long as it's consistent in both your HTML document and the CSS style sheet. So I'm going to do a full stop, paste in the class name, open our brackets, let's put color, let's type in a color, and that should now apply to anything with that class name, another style, which we actually just applied to our second paragraph. So let's take a look. So that's purple there, and we can apply that same class to anything on the page. I might apply it to our H1 heading over here. So our H1 heading should now be in that purple coloring. And we can just keep loading up a whole bunch of styles within that class. I'm going to put a dotted border. Oops, I've got a little typo there. Need a colon. So anything with that class will now have that border. I'll also give it a padding of 30 pixels, and we could just keep going on and on. So let's save that and take a look at our page. So that should now be applied to this paragraph here and this heading here. Great, so there's a really ugly thick border. It's got some padding, purple text, and likewise, well, you can see here, not only does it have the horrible border that we just applied and the padding and the color text, but it also still inherits that black background that we applied earlier to paragraph tags. So not only has it used these styles, but it's also used these styles here because it's a paragraph. So it uses anything associated with the p tag and anything associated with the class name itself. So I hope that illustrates the power of using classes. It's something that you'll use quite often when dealing with CSS. And in the next tutorial, we'll delve even deeper into some more CSS.